The Caterham 7 is an anachronism, right? Wrong. With just 84 brake horsepower to play with, this Suzuki engine 7170 produces performance figures that would scare a really quick hot hatch, yet is affordable, economical, and as environmentally sound as any EV or hybrid. So much for the view that it's behind the curve. Maybe all sports cars should be built this way.
Now, if you've never driven a Caterham before, it can initially feel a little overwhelming. Compared to the rather synthetic feel of many sports cars, the 7 experience is rather more organic. Turn this saucer-sized steering wheel and you can see the front wheels respond beneath their cycle mudguards. Hit a bump and you'll see the suspension at work. Drive down a country lane at 40 miles an hour and it'll seem as if you're about to make the jump to light speed. You will emerge juiced and with slightly shaky hands, wondering at how such a full-strength adrenaline hit can still be legal. But will the proper 7 experience be retained with an engine up front just 660cc in size? Well, if the car is bolted to is light enough, then yes. Holding true to the mantra that spawned the original 7, to simplify and add lightness, the 7170 weighs a little over 440 kilos, which in part is thanks to the lightness of its turbocharged Suzuki power plant. Okay, it only produces 84 brake horsepower and 160 newton meters of torque, but there's a rorty engine note, and because of the feather-like curb weight, there's an impressive power-to-weight ratio in excess of 170 brake horsepower per tonne. And that means that the 0 to 62 miles an hour sprint can be achieved in just 6.9 seconds, and top speeds can exceed 100 miles an hour, although you would have to be brave to manage that. Complementing the 170's favourable power-to-weight ratio is its marrying of a 155 section tyre and live rear axle suspension, which should enable drivers of most capabilities to extract the full potential from this Caterham's mechanical configuration. Everything else is pure 7. The steering is weighty but communicative, and the brakes have the ability to hang you off your belt. Traction control, well, that is down to your right foot. The 170 not only represents the brand's lightest 7 produced to date, but measuring 1,470 mils in width, it's 105 millimetres narrower than anything else in the current range, and that makes it the smallest 7 as well. There are several features that appear on the 7170 which haven't been on previous production models, including new alloy wheels, rear LED lights, and a smarter stripe design. Otherwise, it's a familiar 7 recipe here. While this Caterham might have the ability to embarrass a Porsche 911 on a twisty road or racetrack, it can't hope to compete with a lardy sports coupe when it comes to practicality. This is not the kind of car to pick up the weekly shop in. And no, you can't have a radio. Now, although ergonomics have been improved quite significantly in recent years, this cabin still resembles a throwback to the 1970s with a fiddly pop-a-fit roof, some rather endearingly idiosyncratic minor controls, and space for 2 rather slim-hipped occupants. If you're on first-name terms with the employees in your local KFC, you might well need to make sure you fit. Or go for the optional large chassis model, which is 250 millimetres longer, 110 mils wider, and 25 mils taller. Despite its rather basic look and feel, the 7 has been developed over many years, and Caterham have ironed out the niggling faults due to a very close relationship with the owners. Yes, the cars may be quirky, but there's actually very little to go wrong, and the fundamentals are tried and tested. Build quality in the conventional sense of soft feel plastics and doors that thunk shut are, well, they're a non-issue here. Far more important is the ability to do 40 laps of brands and then drive home without missing a beat. That's where Caterhams are utterly unbeatable.
Caterhams are among the least costly sports cars to run. Because of their inherent lightness, these cars are very easy on things like tyres and brakes. With less forces acting on them and with less work to do, the materials just last longer. The other benefit of not lugging around a bunch of extraneous kilograms is economy. Even a rather spirited drive in a 7 will often see average fuel economy in the region of 30 to 35 miles per gallon. The 170 takes that efficiency formula a stage further. It's one of Caterham's most environmentally friendly cars to date. Both ULEZ and Euro 6 compliant, this model is the company's lowest emission 7 with a CO2 figure of 109 grams per kilometre. It's even greener than some hybrid vehicles, and that includes Toyota's Yaris.
This is a car that's fun even when you're not posting huge numbers on the clocks, and one which is economically and environmentally sound, yet which nevertheless retains a steely focus with drive capability that refuses to be emasculated. So many sports cars today nanny their drivers, offering a dumbed-down synthetic version of all the visceral emotion that should accompany a proper roadster. Caterham doesn't subscribe to that view. Long may that continue.